In 1942, Polish soldiers bought a bear cub for 2 cans of meat, a pocket knife, and a chocolate bar. But by 1945, that bear was a ranking member of the Polish army, carrying artillery shells for the Allied forces, and even disposed of 2 Nazis and 1 Middle Eastern spy. This is the true story of Corporal Wojtek, the only bear to ever be enlisted in the Allied forces during World War II. In April of 1942, a group of Polish soldiers, having escaped Soviet work camps, were traveling their way through Iran. They were tired, homesick, and questioning their life choices. Then they spotted something weird. A weary young boy traveling alone through the forest with a large sack on his back. The boy seemed exhausted and malnourished. He approached the soldiers, indicating a request for food and water. The soldiers shared what little they had. After a while, they noticed that the boy's bag was moving. Cautiously, they opened the bag, and out popped the snout of a little brown bear cub. Now, most people's rational reaction to seeing a bear in a bag is to run the other way. But these soldiers, after everything they've been through, thought, you know what we need? We need a bear. And the price they paid for this very little bundle of joy? 2 cans of meat from their rations, a pocket knife, and a chocolate bar. Probably the strangest transaction since Manhattan was bought for like $24, but infinitely more dangerous. The soldiers named him Voytek, which I'm sure I will butcher many times throughout this video. But the name means happy warrior or smiling warrior. And let me tell you, he lived up to that name. But raising a bear in the barracks isn't exactly covered in military manuals. The soldiers tried to take care of Voytek as best they could, feeding him condensed milk from empty vodka bottles, because I guess nothing quite says Polish military like vodka bottles. Taking turns caring for him, letting him sleep in their tents in the harsh winter. One soldier even repeatedly would put the small bear on his chest and zip up his coat over him as they marched through the winter storm. Now, as he grew, he got off of the condensed milk and his diet expanded. It included fruits and syrups and marmalade, as if he was Paddington. And because he was now officially a Polish soldier, beer and cigarettes. One of his favorite snacks was to eat lit cigarettes, not smoke them, eat them. He saw these soldiers having lit cigarettes in their mouth, and he would demand one too, and he wouldn't settle until it was lit, and then he would chew that bad boy down, which might actually be worse for you. In 1944, when the Polish Second Corps prepared to sail from Egypt to Italy, they hit a huge snag. The merchant vessel that was designated to bring them from Egypt to Italy refused to board anyone that wasn't a member of the Allied forces, as that's all they had been paid to do. So the Polish soldiers did what any reasonable people would do. Leave the bear there? No, of course not. No, they're not leaving the bear. The bear is amazing. Their commanding officer issued him a rank and papers on the spot. That's right, Wojtek was given name, rank, and serial number in the Allied forces. He was now officially Private Wojtek of the 22nd Artillery Supply Company of the Polish Second Corps in the Allied forces. His pay? Doubled rations and his own quarters. Wojtek was in the big leagues. Now, he did regularly sneak out of those quarters to go back and cuddle with his friends, even though he was a large 400-pound brown bear. And it wasn't just a paper promotion. Wojtek went through the intense training and learned the military life. He learned to salute, he learned to stand at attention, and he learned to bare-knuckle box the other soldiers. Which, of course, he was good at. You can imagine just soldiers just getting yeeted around by a big brown bear. He loved that. He even learned to use the showers. He would frequently break into and turn on the showers. In fact, this is where Private got his first promotion, in the showers. One day, Wojtek decided he wanted a shower, breaking into the communal shower area and turning on the showers. Amongst the mist, he found hiding an Iranian spy. The spy, naturally being petrified of the bear, immediately surrendered, and Wojtek's large growl alerted his company. They arrested and interrogated the spy, with Voytek towering over him the entire time, causing him to give up his entire mission and other spies who had broken into the camp. Because of this act of heroism, Voytek was promoted to corporal, now not only being the only bear to serve in a ranked position in the Allied forces, but one of the highest ranking ever animals to serve in World War II. But here's where our story goes from fun animal mascot to war hero. In 1944, the 22nd Artillery Supply Company was deployed to the Battle of Monte Cassino. This was one of the toughest and bloodiest battles of the Italian campaign, where ragtag groups of Allied forces fought against well-entrenched Axis powers. During the battle, Wojtek noticed his fellow soldiers struggling to move the crates of 100-pound artillery shells fast enough to supply their lines. So what did the bear do? Wojtek started picking up crates and artillery shells himself and bringing them to the supply trucks to restore the front line. Not a single shell shell was dropped. This 500-pound brown bear was more careful with these explosives than many of his human counterparts. But more importantly are the reports that when Voytek found a German soldier behind enemy lines attempting to sabotage their supply line, Voytek proceeded to bludgeon the Nazi over the head with the crate that he was carrying, killing him on the spot and saving the company from sabotage, allowing them to continue to supply artillery that was a decisive component of this battle. At the end of the Battle of Monte Cassino, the area was in absolute ruins, but as the remaining Allied forces picked themselves up and stood victorious over the area, they raised two flags among the rubble: the British Union Jack and the Polish flag. Voytek's shell carrying became so legendary that the 22nd Company changed their official emblem to be a bear carrying an artillery shell to honor Voytek. Because when your company has a bear that carries explosives, you put that on your business card. You put that up front. After the war, Voytek was given both honorary Polish and British citizenships. He received a hero's welcome as he was transferred to the UK and lived happily in the Edinburgh Zoo. Veterans of the 22nd Company would frequently visit Voytek, where upon hearing his name, he would quickly sit back and signal that he wanted a lit cigarette. Sometimes his old friends would even jump into the enclosure to begin to wrestle with Voytek, giving onlookers and zookeepers who had no idea about this history an absolute heart attack. Voytek continued to live in the Edinburgh Zoo until his passing in 1963, where he was buried with military honors. Today there are statues of Voytek in Poland, Scotland, and Italy. He's remembered not just as a quirky mascot, but a symbol of Polish courage and resilience during World War II. He's still celebrated in Poland to this day, speaking to the Polish people of the time who were displaced, lost, and fighting for survival in unknown terrains. From an orphan cub bought with chocolate and meat, to a cigarette-eating, beer-drinking, Nazi bludgeon and war hero, Corporal Voytek's story might sound like something that was dreamed up by a Hollywood writer who's had too much of the good stuff. But sometimes the strangest stories are the true ones. And in a war filled with darkness and some of the worst atrocities in human history, maybe we needed to be reminded of our humanity by a beer-drinking bear who loved to wrestle. It's certainly better than when the US tried to train cats as spies. It did not go well. It didn't go well. So if you enjoyed this bizarre slice of history, hit like and subscribe to get more nerd dives and great stories. And as you walk around celebrating your freedom, remember that some small part of it is all due to the Nazi fighting bear that helped turn the tides of World War II with his right to bear arms.